All right, so in this video, I want to talk a little bit about why your credit score is stuck and what you can do to fix it. In this video, I'll touch on the 4 things that are the most common in terms of people's credit scores being stuck. With that said, let's jump right into it. Number 1 is because you have some sort of derogatory indicators on your credit report. Derogatory indicators include collection accounts, charge-offs, and late payments. Now, what can you do to fix having derogatory indicators on your credit report? The only thing you can do is pay everything else on time and put time between you and the derogatory events. As derogatory events age, they will have less and less of an effect on your credit score. In other words, a 30-day late payment that happened 3 months ago is affecting your credit score a whole lot more than a 30-day late payment that happened 6 years ago. Now, with that said, something else that derogatory indicators do, specifically 60-day late payments or worse, so 90 days account charge-offs, is they will put your credit report into what we call a derogatory scorecard, okay? Now, what is a scorecard? Basically, a scorecard is a set of instructions, a set of specific algorithms for people with similar credit characteristics to score them, okay? Now, if I want to explain it another way, if you have, let's say you have person A and person B, okay? Person A has had credit for 15 years, has 20 different accounts, and has always paid them on time. Person B has only had credit for 1 year, and they have a 60-day late payment that happened 5 months ago, okay? If person A decides to go apply for a new credit card, it's presenting a much less risk to future lenders than person B, okay? So scorecards are built for people with similar credit profiles because everything that they do when they engage in a credit-related activity, the risk that that activity presents is going to be different depending on their existing credit situation, and that's why we have scorecards. I hope that was a good explanation. If there's any confusion, please leave it in the comment section down below. I'll try to be as clear as I can. So, derogatory events, they put your credit report into what we call derogatory scorecards, and derogatory scorecards have a maximum possible credit score that may not be 850. It may not even be 820, depending on what derogatory scorecard you're in. So you may have a 90-day late payment from 6 years ago, and your credit score right now is stuck at, I don't know, 792. Right? And it's been stuck there for 6 months, and you're asking yourself, I'm doing everything right. Why is my credit score stuck at 792 for 6 months? It may be because your 90-day late payment has aged enough to the point where it's not affecting your credit score directly and you're doing everything else right, so you're maximizing the score you can get in whatever derogatory scorecard you're in. And your credit score is not going to go any higher until the derogatory event falls off your credit report and you get reassigned to a clean scorecard, which has a possible credit score of higher than whatever your credit score is stuck at. That's number 1. Number 2, is because your utilization ratio is not between 1 to 9%, both line item by line item, credit card by credit card, and on aggregate, okay? If your utilization ratio falls anywhere outside of the 1 to 9% range, you are not maximizing the points you're earning in terms of the utilization ratio, which is in the category that is worth 30% of your credit score. So it is a very important metric. You want to make sure you maximize it if you want to have the highest score possible. Now, the general advice on the internet is to have your utilization ratio less than 30%. And that's good, but it's not excellent. If your credit score is stuck at, I don't know, 748, which is a really good credit score, and you want to take it up a notch, and your utilization ratio is 26%, bringing that utilization ratio of 26% down to between 1 to 9% is probably going to affect your credit score by at least 20 to 30 points and take you up to, let's say, a 768, okay, depending on other factors. So to summarize, your utilization ratio has to be between 1 to 9%, both on a credit card by credit card basis and on aggregate. Next up, we have your credit is too young. Now, there's many different definitions of credit reports being too young. There is something as a young scorecard. We don't know exactly how old your oldest account needs to be for you to get out of that young scorecard. The consensus, if you read my FICO forums, tends to be 1 to 2 years in terms of your oldest account. As long as you are on the young credit scorecard, your credit score is probably not going to get super high, okay? You want to get out of there. Now, in terms of when will you earn the maximum amount of points when it comes to the credit history, which is worth 15% of your credit report, 20 years or older for your oldest account, and between 9 to 10 years when it comes to the average age. So if you're somewhere in between, for example, I'm somewhere in between, my oldest account I think is about 8 years old, and if your credit score is, let's say, 805, because you're doing everything correctly, the only thing you can do about credit age is just age, right? There's nothing you can do. It's not really an actionable metric. There's nothing you can do. You can just keep doing everything else right, enjoy your killer credit score in the process, and just wait till you get older and your oldest account hits 20 years plus and your average age hits 9 to about 10 years. Number 4, two things. Thin file, constantly applying for new credit. Now, something I forgot to say. The list is in order of importance, okay? In other words, number 1 is probably the reason why your credit score is stuck. Number 2 is likely the reason. Number 3 is possibly the reason. Number 4, even if this is keeping your credit score low, you're still gonna have a really good credit score. But if number 1, derogatory indicators, especially recently, if that's what's keeping your score stuck, you're probably gonna be stuck at not such a good place, okay? Being stuck at 748 or 792 or 805, you can be stuck on that for life and you're going to get preferential treatment when it comes to lenders. But if you're stuck at 580, you don't want to be stuck there. This is probably a result of a recent collection, of a recent charge-off. You don't want to be stuck here. If you're stuck at 805, you can be stuck at 805 for life, no problem. That said, number 4, thin file, constantly applying for new credit. Thin file is when you have less than 4 total accounts, okay? It has its own scorecard. The maximum credit score that you can get on the thin file scorecard is not 850. We don't know exactly what it is. And also constantly applying for new credit. Now, credit inquiries are in the category that is worth 10% of your credit report, of your credit score. So they don't really carry a lot of importance, but if you're constantly applying for new credit, you're also changing some other metrics. You're changing the average age of all your accounts. There's another metric that measures the age of your newest account. You're constantly changing that, and you're just racking up inquiry after inquiry, which is going to, again, keep your credit score stuck per se, but not really. If you're doing everything correctly and the only thing you're doing wrong is you keep getting new credit cards and you have a bunch of inquiries, again, you're probably going to be stuck somewhere 750 plus, okay? But if you have a thin file, it's a different story. And number 5, many other possibilities. Algorithms are complex and are multifactorial, okay? I cannot sit here and pinpoint why your credit score is stuck without extensively going through your credit report and comparing it to the knowledge that we do have when it comes to what the algorithms are looking for. Now, something that just came to my mind, I forgot to say, you don't want to have your utilization ratio, if I can open the marker, you don't want to have your utilization ratio at 0%. You don't want to have that. Now, it's not the biggest deal in the planet, okay? But if you do have it at 0, there is a known score penalty when it comes to FICO scoring for having 0% utilization, which is anywhere between 5 to 20 points, depending on your current credit score and some other factors, okay? Now, I want to say this. If carrying a 0% utilization ratio is what enables you to pay no interest and pay all your bills on time, by all means, go ahead, take the 5 to 20 points penalty and have a 0% utilization ratio, but pay no interest. But if you're someone who can stay on top of carrying 1 to 9% utilization when it comes to your statement balance, but then paying it off before the due date so you don't end up getting hit with a late payment and you don't end up paying interest, and you want to maximize your credit score, go ahead and do so. The target range, like I said, 1 to 9%. And that is all I have to say in this video. If you have any other questions or thoughts, leave them in the comment section down below. If you think I missed anything, please leave it in the comment section down below as well. And thanks for watching.